Yep.
I've been losing my mind, trying to figure it out, but I'm stuck in a drought, I guess I'll start again.
I've been losing my mind, trying to figure it out, but I'm stuck in this house. I am my only friend.
Lately I know I've been a punk and I need to sober up. Double cup, it got me stuck, I think I'm losing it. It's every time that I've been getting stuck, stand a line inside my head with my friends that they've been dead since I made it out. It's every time that you cross my mind, remember the times, but I know that you won't ever change. I'm not sobering up, sick and tired of love. If you draw that line, babe, I hope you know I'm crossing it. I've been losing my mind, trying to figure it out, but I'm stuck in a drought, I guess I'll start again.
I've been losing my mind, trying to figure it out, but I'm stuck in this house. I am my only friend.
Over and over again, it's like I never win. While you putting me down, it don't make any sense.
I'm not sober again, but I'm trying to pretend like everything's alright, but it's over with. I get drunk and interrupt, and my eyes look red because I'm mad at myself. I stab the opening. Lately, everything I say, you just tell me is wrong. I told her I won't be here long, I can't hold it in. Every time you cross my mind, I burn another memory to keep yours inside. I saw us drown like high tide, and everything is nothing if you're not here tonight.
I've been losing my mind, trying to figure it out, but I'm stuck in a drought, I guess I'll start again.
I've been losing my mind, trying to figure it out, but I'm stuck in this house. I am my only friend.
Over and over again, it's like I never win. While you putting me down, it don't make any sense.
I'm not sober again, but I'm trying to pretend like everything's alright, but it's over with.
And we are live. I am Ronnie Harris of the Limitless channel, and I'm joined by Jason Laufenberg of Awake Souls. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. And hello to everybody that's joining tonight. It's been a little bit since we've been live, and I miss y'all. So thanks to everybody that showed up already. And no, we're just gonna try to get caught up on what's been going on. There hasn't been anything like too super consequential that we felt like we had to talk about. So we let things pile up a little bit, and tonight we want to talk about them. So, brother, how are you doing?
I am doing good, man. Looking forward to the things that are taking place. Continuing to hope for the kingdom to be here. I've had better days. I've had worse days. I'm excited for this is our first stream using the new setup with new Mac, and it's pretty effortless. I'm enjoying the upgrade.
So we got you transitioned over from Windows to Mac finally. You got some help, and thank you from heaven for that, because it's I've been a Mac guy for a long time, and so now we can all the stuff that we do can mesh together. And so we're looking forward to that. We're pretty excited, and I want to let everybody know that Ronnie, when he dives into something, he goes head first. So like he's gone into motion, and he's already doing scenes with reflections that I haven't even thought about doing yet. So we we're excited. We think that the graphics are going to really start popping this year, which is just something that we consider icing on the cake, you know, where we try to make things as fun as we can. We're just doing this because we love the truth, and it's a passion project for us.
Completely. That's what it is, right? It if it's anything at all, it's about passion, and that's why we do what we do. We we don't care about getting paid. We don't care about being the most popular people in the world. But what we do care about is having quality stuff, quality graphics, quality truth. You know, the most important thing is that we continue to share our truth, and we'll never stop. We definitely want to see as many people as possible continuing to fight for the truth. And, I'm thankful that we have people that join us here. We have people that, on the outside lurking. Super thankful for all of you guys. If we've got people that are joining us tonight that, are looking for us to say that, the satanic elite are going to get arrested in the next 10 days or something like that, you've come to the wrong place. That's not what the message is going to be about tonight. And we've got a few other things on the docket. Why don't you let people know exactly what's going on, brother?
Yeah, so we were able to get the hangout up yesterday, and we went with the Great Deplatforming, DC Emergency Declaration, and Texas secession. It's a tough word. I got to really pay attention. But those are a couple of the topics. Anything else is on the table. I honestly, I read the headlines about Trump being second impeached. I guess he's not going to be removed, is sort of what I've heard, but I really didn't pay attention. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Like, to me, that's not as big or important, this whole impeachment thing, as the deplatforming is. It's something much more dear to my heart, because you and I are guys that in order to do what we like to do, we got to have a platform. And for people that follow along, they know that the reason why we're here right now is because I got 2 community guideline strikes. The Awake Souls channel is, it's really up to them to decide whether or not they want to get rid of it or not. And it seems like what they're doing is just taking the platform away from anybody that opposes them, which is a scary thing. So we gotta go into depth on that a little bit. I feel that this is a place where people really need to, you know, the not wearing a mask is a resistance, right? So they ask us to wear a mask. If we don't wear the mask, it's a resistance. I think one of the areas where resistance really needs to be shown is we need to be able to have platforms to be able to freely exchange thoughts and ideas with each other.
Yeah.
And they're taking that away.
Well, you've touched on some super important things. What happens, what we've already, discussed in the past about what censorship does, is that it demoralizes a person's spirit and their fight for the truth to the point where, they try to get you out of the game. They try to make you quit. And it causes, so the censorship leads to violence, right? Now, Jason and I aren't like that. So we're able to handle the censorship a little bit different than other people. But it does usually lead to violence, because if one side doesn't have its fair opportunity to voice its opinion and what it's experiencing in the realm, these people, it tends to lead to war, right? And that's where we're headed. Now, the most important thing is that we always remember that, the kingdom, the place where we get to actually, not this life, many of us most likely have to die to get to this next place, but there's a chance that a group might not. That's what it says in the scriptures. They get translated, and I want to be a part of that group. And so, that's pretty much my feeling. Censorship does lead to murder, right?
Yeah, violence at least. And so I don't have much in the way of tabs tonight, but one of the things that we can do is this the Great Deplatforming. It's a thing now. So this is a massive keyword that you can see that the news is highly centered around deplatforming right now. And it does say in the articles, just like you said right there, if we go through some of these articles, they're going to talk about how deplatforming leads to violence, and how the people that want to still communicate will always find a way to communicate, but it does radicalize those people in the process. So it's the more you clamp down, the more you radicalize people, and that'll lead to problems. We got plenty of problems. We don't need more
So
like that.
so another thing that I wanted to touch upon. So you brought up the masks. I see some people in the chat talking about the masks. And what I wanted to say about that was, so I've, I got confronted at an HEB, excuse me, and it was a woman. I just want to say, right out off the bat, right now, the men have definitely let me down. I don't know whether it's the soy or the water, or I don't know what's going on. The frogs are turning gay. I see more women that are stepping out, being bold, and fighting back. Now, there's a two-sided sword to every battle that we choose. And as spiritual warriors, Jason and I know that we're going to be held to a higher level of standards when it comes to being judged. And so I've been going no mask. One of the times I went to the grocery store, sir, can you stop? And, I kept on walking because I didn't want to say, oh, I have a medical reason that I'm not wearing this mask. And my medical reason is I need to breathe. But so not wearing the mask, rebelling. So these things have a chain of reactions that happen. So at what point, it would be great if we all united. And I've been trying to get more people to unite for years, right? And generally you get 30 to 300 people in a community or a group. And what the censorship has done to bring it back around is they've actually taken away the ability. It started off like there was G Plus was a whole other place. Google had this place where everybody could have groups and they could all message and meet. They took that away. And so they've been taking away the people's ability to gather. So the newest one that came out was a website called Parler, which I did jump on. I check everything out. And so Parler was sharing a lot of content where people were able to, amalgamate. They were able to get together. They were able to share ideas and mass upload things to the internet. And that's something that the New World Order, the satanic elite, they can't have, right? So one of the things that we need to do is we need to be smart enough with the things that we decide to go to war on. So my main point that I was trying to make was, is not wearing a mask, is it going to gain me the whole world getting out of the COVID thing, right? And each and everything that I do, now me promoting not wearing a mask, which I do, I publicly promote it on Facebook a lot, is it going to cause other people to get into trouble? These are things that I think about. But at the end of the day, I would like people to know that there are people out here that aren't afraid, and that fear is something that you can do away with. So I will always choose the option to show no fear. If there was somebody with leprosy, you're not going to see me run to the other side of the street, okay? I have what you call faith, right? I'm not perfect. I get hurt. I'm a human. But I have a supernatural ability, which every one of us listening right now also has, and it's called faith. You have something inside of you that tells you that the Creator will protect you. And that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you get hurt. I've gotten hurt. But I know at the end of the day, if I have faith and I trust in myself with every decision, the outcome is probably going to be better. So, that's another pushback is showing people that you're not afraid. If you're wearing a mask and you're seeing other people, pull it down and actually show people, talk to them, that is a better way. Now we wear beard nets. Well, I did. And that was a way for us to comply, but not comply, because all the statements say that you have to have a face, nose, and mouth covering on. So a beard net is a nose and mouth covering. We've explained that. So I just want everyone on the other side of the screen to know that you have an opportunity to show people that you're not afraid of COVID. I think that's one of our strongest attributes. When Satan thrusts his plans out on the world, his goal is to cause fear and division. And that's it. So the best thing that we can do to fight back is we can have no fear, or whatever, and try to find try to find common ground with other people. Like I sat and talked in the hot tub today with a younger woman. I don't know how young she was. She had red hair and tattoos and whatever, and she had a Black Lives Matter mask on. Now Jason noticed it before me, and her mother was in there, and we had a great conversation where, I had to tell her, this is pretty interesting because I've never had a conversation with someone that believes in your ideology and because they told us flat out, oh, we're political and we believe in science, right? Why don't you tell everybody what you said to that?
Yeah, well, I've been in a feisty mood. I had been sick with allergies real bad, and I'm like just coming out of the fog, and all of a sudden my fighting spirit is back alive again. And I don't know, the one that had the Black Lives Matter on, she was a redhead, which I tend to clash with just as a result of that. And she was super, super tatted up. But so I was already sort of like antagonized, and they said something about science. She's like, you guys believe in science, right? As Ronnie's like sort of disputing the whole COVID thing. And I'm like, no, I don't.
You're like,
it's
science
absolute bullshit. And I would like to, like, and then you were like shutting me down.
Well, I didn't want to fight. I wanted to have an actual conversation where I was able to plant some seeds, which I did. I was able to say to her, because she's going around telling people that non-mask wearing people are actually causing problems for people wearing masks. And I had to tell her, like, not every person that's not wearing a mask isn't like that, right? I told her that I do it to ease people's fear and to show people that there's other people out here that aren't afraid, that are willing to stand out, to not follow these stupid compliances. It doesn't say in the scriptures anywhere that we're supposed to follow anything that's detrimental to our health. Nowhere. Like, the Creator is not stupid. He'll never be called stupid or caught doing anything ridiculous. And that's the other main thing that I continue to want to tell people is that, come on, like, where are the people that aren't afraid? Who is willing to stand up and call this stuff out? Is it just going to be a small group? Is the whole world really going to be that cucked where they just sit there and watch their liberties just taken away? Now, I'm not saying go to war. So, okay, let's get into some of the topics, some current affairs. So, the last hangout that we did was very disgusting for me. To watch the crisis acting, the psyops, the stupid, when they stormed the Capitol, if anybody was here that night. What I've definitely seen, and this is getting into the whole, what's that act called that Trump passed?
A DC emergency declaration.
So yes, it's getting to that point as well. What they did was they organized their own, what I've been saying. People need to go to the Capitol building and just sit there and protest till you get your demands met. So what they did was they staged their own. Everyone knows it was staged, right? Everything went exactly the way they wanted to. They staged it. They had to all of a sudden turn over the fact that all of the corruption happened. Now, because of the staged protest that they broke in and stayed in between the lines, everyone knows all the nonsense. They got that done with. And what they've done there is they've psychologically told everyone that was your chance. So they've got that out of the way. Now what they've done, because everybody thinks Trump is some Republican, when we both know, Jason and I and most of the people in the chat, that he's more Democrat than most Democrats, if not more than any of them. He's in a video kissing Rudy Giuliani with a dress on. Like, if that doesn't get any more, I don't know what to tell you.
He went to a Jesuit university. He's a Kabbalist. I mean, his daughter her name changed from Ivanka to her Jew name. He's on the temple coin.
Yael or whatever.
Yael or something. So
where I was going with this disjointed statement So what they've done is they've done the protest, they've stormed the building, everybody's seen it in their consciousness, it's over with. It didn't work, it actually made everything worse, is the narrative that they spun. It's so retarded because as they were, all the senators were saying we're going to contest the fraud. You stage a rally and protest that's contesting and people will, and to stop them from actually standing up for you. It's so stupid. Now what they've done is Trump's brought in all the military. Washington is probably completely shut down. There's probably tanks and military guys on all the streets protecting all the swamp. Like how people can't see through this. And what you have is you have this whole group of I guess Q-tards and so on and so forth. All these people have no idea that what they did was they ran the PSYOP, they got it out of the way. Now they have the military on the streets. They've got everyone just wait. They've been playing this stupid card, just wait, for months and months and years and years and years. And while that's happening, everything's getting put into place for the New World Order satanic swamp to move on. But what you get is you get these people out here saying like, we're going to come out with the evidence. All of a sudden the power is going to go off and the satanic elite, the people that, run the government, run the military, those are the ones who are all of a sudden going to get arrested and justice is going to be served. Well, I've got a bad message for all of you people out there that believe that's going to happen. You're out of your fucking mind if you think that's ever going to happen. The only time it says in the scriptures that things will get better is when Yahushai's reign begins here on earth and all of the other stuff is done away with. No lies, none of that stuff is allowed into that realm, right? We're in a realm right now controlled by satanic, sick, pedophile, disgusting people. For me to see a switch to wake up in the morning and actually have seen that Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, all these people, Hillary Clinton, all these disgusting people are now somehow arrested when they've gone from the top. Like Nancy Pelosi has been in the government for 50 years, right? When you really think about who has the power and who has the control over the people, you can't look at presidents. They serve 4 to 8 years and they're gone. You have to look at the light. Anthony Fauci, he's been on the stupid thing for 40 years. These are the people. Joe Biden, he got in really young, right? He was up and comer. This is what's going on. Those are the people that are running all of the COVID, all of the PSYOPs. These are coming straight from Chuck Schumer. All these people are all working together. There's no left, there's no right, there's one, right? They're a team. And ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, they are not on our team. They are everything against us. They want censorship. And Trump has been leading the charge like a Pied Piper, pretending to be some sort of Republican Christian savior. Well, he's been literally causing the destruction and erosion of everything. And that's where I see everything as of right now.
Yeah, when did you see our censorship really kick in?
2016, as soon as Trump took office. We went down hundreds of thousands of views, just like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. The way I see it is Trump he's being set up to be king. Like we've seen this, like he's the one, he's the chosen, he's set up to be king. So Antifa is supposed to be anti-fascist. So that would be against having Trump the king type thing. So they're supposed to be against Trump. Now what I've seen all along is that they always control the opposition. And that Antifa is their proxy, their on the ground troops to play the opposition, and they're just running their scripts like every other crisis acted type event that we've ever witnessed, and that it's crisis actors organized as a group called Antifa that's supposed to be the opposition to Trump. But I see how they're all working in unison, like you were just talking about, and they're just rolling this out. So I still don't see Trump leaving. I mean, everybody can call me crazy for that, but this just seems so all scripted to him. I don't know how we're going to get to the point where he would be back in play. One of the theories that I tossed around there that was that at the inauguration, that if we had an assassination against Biden, that things could be all thrown in an uproar.
Well, they've got you covered on that one, bro. He's zooming in for it.
Oh, okay. still, I mean, it could go Abe Lincoln style, like, right? Somebody just walks up to him on the camera and pow, like in a Zoom
Yeah.
call, and everybody was like, ah, some of the stuff I just want to toss out there. We've been starting to see clips that we're seeing that we really think are deep fakes, that they're not even like the real people doing
For
the
a while.
scene,
For a while.
right? For a while, that, and we've seen them with Trump and a lot of these players, that especially the one where he was supposed to be on a boat, you could see the scene moving and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that was
they've
good.
been rolling this kind of stuff out there for a little while. So I just say that as a forewarning, so that if something radical is also spread across the internet and everybody's like, be prepared for a deep fake hoax, because the graphics is there, where
Yeah.
surely people that are professionals, they can make it look pretty good if they want to.
Well, yeah, we've got the deep fakes to contend with too, and all that. What we also have is the Simpsons to draw back upon, and what we've noticed is that after Trump is done, the economy is destroyed, everything's through the floor, and it's a woman that's in charge, right? And the Simpsons have been right about just about everything, including the Illuminati handcard game. It's the same type of thing, and the reason they're able to do that is because they actually control the scripts. Right, so if you put out something in the past, it doesn't mean you're pathetic, right? It just means that you're pathetic, and you have to use cartoons and card games to tell people your wicked, evil plans. So
Yeah, everybody's heard that the Twin Towers were built, 33 years in advance, and all this kind of stuff. So
yeah,
they have these scripts, these narratives that they've pre-planned, that they I don't know how they can always get like the right actors. Like, what happens if somebody just dies because they're in an accident or something? Like, there's
yeah,
so many, the gematria and all that kind of stuff has been coded in for certain people. Like, we've
yeah.
seen the gematria for Barack Obama and the gematria for Trump and all that. What happens if that person, did they just bring in a double? And I don't know.
Well, it's a possibility for sure. Or they just run they have multiple different ones going, right? So it's not like a singular thing. They've got multiple stories, multiple things that they can run. One of the other suggestions that you had brought up, not to steal your thunder or anything, but you had suggested that in the scriptures it states that the sixth king becomes the eighth king, right? There's a short king in the seventh position. So
Yeah.
we could see. Did you want to tell it?
No, go ahead. You probably remember it better than I do.
Well, we could see Trump leave halfway through, Biden take over, and then again, I'm giving this the least amount of a percentage of likelihood things to happen, because I don't believe that the satanic elite are going to get overthrown. I don't. I would love to do it. I'd love to be a part of it. But the military could then shut down Biden because of the corruption or fraud, or he gets some kind of stupid thing that they release on him, and then Trump gets reinstated back into as the eighth king again in the biblical sense. So that is a possibility that I see myself. And you brought it up, and it's pretty good. I have to agree.
Well, it's got a lot of validity to it, from the sense that if we know in the scriptures, it tells us that order. There's the sixth king, then the seventh for a short time, and then the eighth king. So we had been thinking Obama, Antichrist, and then Trump's in for a little bit. Now he's already gone full term, so it's not seeming as likely that that's for a little bit, and then back to Obama. So now the likelihood is that Trump, Biden, Trump. Otherwise, we'd probably be waiting another 4 years to go from that king to a different king and back. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea how that would happen. Like, that storyline is yet to be published, but
There is an opportunity for it to happen. That's why I brought it up. There's so many things that we're watching that we're keeping our eyes and our minds and our hearts focused on. The kingdom, the kingdom, I'm going to be continuing throughout this next year, as long as we continue to fight, letting people know over and over again that this world is going to burn, right? Everything in it's going to burn. So if you're trying to stock up money, if you're trying to save things up, if you're trying to like your focus, my advice that I'm taking myself is focus as much attention as I can on the kingdom of heaven and manifesting that into reality. I'd like to maybe, I don't know, there's going to be some different things that I'm going to start to set up. I might do some sort of a daily thing where I go live on Facebook, and hopefully Jason will be a part of it too. And I can, look for people that need healing or that need a little bit of stability or anything. It doesn't always have to be about scriptures, because what I know is that good-hearted people that are in pain right now could probably still use help, whether they know that Yahushua is the name of the Savior or that Yahweh is the name of the Creator. That's something that we can get to down the road. But I'd like to have any suggestions from anybody that's watching, what they would like, if they would find a daily thing. If I'm not working, if I have time, at some point during the day I could live stream. I had a few people had suggested that I do some earlier streams. I don't know if it's because of their geographical location or just that people would probably enjoy hearing us in a daytime slot. I just wanted to bring this up now to you, brother, as well, live. What are your thoughts on these types of things?
Yeah, I'm up for as much as possible. The personal relationships are super important, and I'm absolutely available for that kind of stuff, for one-on-one type stuff. And I just saw the message from Seth before we went live. So I really do want to keep people that want to talk about this stuff. I want to talk about it with them. I've got time for that because it's super important. Um, and I just want to note that Mimi L says that could also be Netanyahu. So yeah, that whole time that I was talking about 6, 7, and 6, 7, and then the 6 being the 8th again, I was speaking from a dogmatic position of it's got to be a USA president, but it doesn't. So it can be some other ruler. It seems like it's going to be USA just because they get so much attention around the world. But it could be Israel. It could be somebody else. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I thought it was Netanyahu for the longest of times, just because of the way that he was treating the Palestinian people. I'm like, yeah, this is definitely what an antichrist would do. But then again, there's so many things that are faked, right? It's such a
yes.
road.
Um, I just want to. Bruce Hansen is asking about the clouds behind the sun thing, and instead of chatting back and forth, I just want to quickly say, if you look at the distance, if you see clouds behind the sun, and then you see what's at the horizon, what the farthest thing away from you is, chances are it's going to be less than 20 miles. Visibility is generally 20 miles or less, just based on air conditions. Sometimes with good atmospheric conditions, and then with elevation, you can see a little bit farther. We have no real evidence of seeing 50 miles plus. So those clouds that you see are going to be generally within a 10 to 20 mile range. If you see clouds behind it, that isolates the sun to actually operating in a 10 to 20 mile radius from the observer. And that means it can't be a physical sun. It can't be a gaseous fireball 3,000 miles up in the Freemason New World Order AE map and model, or 93 million miles away, because those clouds are literally within a person's circle of sight, 10 to 20 miles, generally at max. So that's the reason why we say it's a simulation proof. And you can actually go out and you can get a zoom camera. It doesn't have to be P1000. If you get 50x or better, you're going to be able to zoom in. And oftentimes, if you have clouds out at the horizon, not all the way to the horizon where it's blocked out, but just sort of at a distance, during sunrise and sunset, as the sun moves through that cloud layer, you're going to be able to see that there are actually clouds farther than the sun in those shots. So
That's right. Well, you know, it's funny that you bring that up because the moon, right? That's where I first found the phenomena was from a photographer that was like just mind blown that she was able to capture clouds behind the moon. And so what NASA actually had to do was say that the Earth glow actually permeates past the moon's distance, right? So because also you can see that blue, right? The blue behind the moon. Clearly, the moon is under the blue. If you look
It's
at a
not blacked out. You would if it was just a rock, right? It would be dark. It wouldn't be blue like the
yeah,
rest of the sky. And we've zoomed right into it, and it's the sky. It's like a transparency layer, like a lot of the graphics that you're seeing on the screen right now are transparency layers, and that's another simulation thing. So
well, and
I don't know, they just keep piling up.
the cityscape behind us, it's the furthest back layer, right? And that's what we actually have clouds on the furthest layer behind the sun and the moon. And that's also something that's very biblical, talked about throughout all of the scriptures. The highest of the clouds, the highest clouds, he descended upon clouds, right, into our realm. I just noticed that your chroma key isn't perfect, so continue talking and I'll fix that.
Yeah, it's giving us a little bit of a fit, but we're just a couple of amateurs having fun. Um, so we went off on a clouds behind the sun tangent as it relates, but so I get that. So we've got the banners that are coming in and out, and they make dogmatic statements, and so if people ask questions about that, what they're going to get is answers because we've really looked into these topics deeply, and we can answer questions about them.
Yeah,
What do you want to do next? Do you want to go through a couple tabs? Is there?
I was looking at the title and reminiscing again. So we've gone over what I think the Declaration Act of Emergency that was enacted, right? Just to let people know that's not to arrest the satanic swamp, okay? Get that out of your heads. I would love to see it happen. Again, that's retarded. The Declaration of Emergency Act was passed to protect the swamp. They brought the military into Washington where they all live, right? So that's that covered. We've got Texas secession. Now, I am all about Texas becoming its own country. In fact, I might even run for the president king of Texas. If the opportunity arises, if Jason will support me in the campaign, I will do it. I'm all for it. What are your thoughts, brother? And what have you been hearing about the Texas succession?
Well, I've been hearing it a fair amount lately. Um, it's interesting because we're in Texas. That a lot of the guys like Elon Musk and you know all this kind of stuff is coming to Texas. Trump was just in Texas. He just went to the wall, and I don't know. I've heard about secession for a long time. In fact, before I was like a YouTube truther. Just a second.
Yeah, and this is all
I
verified.
had a I had a cough, but before I was a YouTube truther, I was still I was still truthing, and I had heard about Texas secession, and I was here, and I was all for it. I'm like, if this can become its own country, that would be fantastic. I'm in. So I had like signed up and got the emails, and we hear all this and that about Texas's, working to succeed from the nation. And as this whole thing is played out, we continue. Texas gets its name dropped a bunch, and I'm not against it. If Texas wants to pull out of the other states, I'd be great with that. Um, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I feel like people in Texas, for the most part, have they let people live, right? So it's like up in Wisconsin, if somebody had a broken windshield or their registration was out for a little bit, or a guy that was trying to like carry a ladder in the back of his pickup truck and it hung out more than 4 feet. All these people are getting pulled over and they're getting tickets. And you come to Texas and guys have ladders 20 feet hanging out over the truck, and
It's true.
trailers with nothing covered and
Yeah,
no
well,
license plate and
but
3 tires and a fender missing. And some of it looks ratty, but the fact that they don't just get pulled over right away, I'm sort of like, yeah, it's like this live and let live. And I'm all about as much freedom as possible uh, within biblical guidelines, right?
yes, well said. And I can attest to this story as well because being from Canada, where I grew up, it's like if you've got like a missing bumper or like, your back window taped up with like plastic or something, like you get pulled over like 10 minutes onto the road. They've got cameras everywhere. They come and get you. When I came here to Texas, I was like, because it's so much warmer and there's no snow, I was absolutely dumbfounded with like I was seeing cars from the 80s, from the 90s, like cars that like have been rotted out in Canada. The floorboards, the rocker panels go so fast from the salt where I come from, right? And Texas has this freedom to it. Again, coming from communist Canada, the only type of stores you could really get to be successful were franchises, where New World Order poisons like McDonald's, Tim Hortons, which if I was in Canada, I'm sorry, I would still be drinking Tim Hortons. I don't know if they put heroin in that stuff. It's unbelievably good, but it's, again, you can't open Ron's coffee shop. And when I came to Texas, I saw this freedom. I saw such a variety. There's so much choice and vibrance here. And the people are really genuinely really like wonderful to be around,
And we've got Alex Jones too, right?
Well, Alex Jones, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, these are all some of the names of the people that have moved here recently. There's so many, like I can't even count. People are flocking literally to Austin and probably within like 30 miles of me and Jason, which is weird. But they're smart people. These are the people that saw what was coming and they got the F out, right? And we were trying to create a community. We did everything. Jason even wrote out a whole guidelines and all this stuff. It was super thorough. And we thought about where would the best place to be. Well, the cattle and livestock here eat the grass, right? You can grow vegetables all year round, right? This has got to be one of the best places to live in the world. And once you get out into the heat, right? Because I came from Canada and like never gets anywhere near. You stay out in the heat for a few months working or doing stuff in the sun, you absolutely you get climatized to it and you're able to handle the heat. And it's so much more enjoyable to have 10 months of summer or 9 months of like 70 to 80 degree weather than it is anywhere else. And this community thing would be the only way that we could ever actually defeat the satanic system. If we were able to pull out of their system, have our own power supply, our own systems, our own food, our own community that work together. This was the only answer that we had, and we fought.
Yeah, it may not actually defeat that system, but I would say that it would be the only way that we could have refuge from it, or a slight amount of refuge. That I love the idea of working together in the community with like-minded people that care about truth, that I know aren't going to steal, lie, cheat, any of that kind of stuff. I just want trustable, dependable, nice, friendly people, and I would love to do everything I could to help a person like that out. So
Yeah.
I guess we're trying to sell Texas a little bit. We're here. It's strategic. I find it interesting that guys like Alex Jones, we know that he's COINTELPRO. We know he's an agent, and he got set up and ran his whole, fight against the New World Order from Austin, Texas. So it's interesting that it was selected.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what part Texas is going to play in this whole takedown of Western society, which is what the New World Order keeps on telling us they're going to do. They're going to go ahead.
Well, that segues into something that I wanted to bring up. There has been in past, whether we can completely verify it or not, there has been this type of thing where every so often the satanic elite will absolutely just run the streets with blood. They will kill their own, they will take out everything, and they will start again. Are we heading into one of these periods, if not the Great Tribulation? I don't know, but that is a possibility. So, what we could see is through the censorship, you could have the radical right impose in the military and all this, all the people that want to see the satanic elite. That could take place. Like I had said, there's a small amount. But what you need to watch for with that is after they're done taking out all the satanic elite, what next are they going to try to take out? Are they going to continue going? Because bloodlust and this type of thing, it's shown in history, if we are to believe what some of the history books state, is that the Jacobean Revolution, they ended up cutting off all the people against them's heads, and then when they ran out of those people, they started cutting off their own team's heads. So
Well, the hot topic, this was probably about a year ago, was Noahide laws.
yeah,
Right? It was a super hot topic. Everybody was saying Noahide, 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 Noahide. And yeah, so wouldn't that be, you're talking about this bloodlust,
yeah,
so some sort of revolution, and then the people that win, like you were saying, Jacobean style revolution, the people that win, Noahide laws. All right. And if you're not down with the Noahides, your head's off. So something like that would fit with what the scriptures tell us to expect.
yeah.
Um, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm really letting everyone know on the other side. Sorry, I hit my cable for my headphones. Having my hands now available for me to talk is a new thing for me, and I'm doing everything I can. Like I can do your martial arts stuff. Generally, you'll see people throwing out hand signs. I want to say that I'm going to do my best to continue not to have any type of slip ups or stumbles for anybody else on the other side of the screen, because I know how toxic the when you become a truther and you see all this stuff, it becomes a poison to you, right? And hitting back on what my goals are, continuing off with this, if we're going to stay here on this earth in this realm, and what can we do to fight back? Well, something that Jason and I have constantly promoted is that your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, the things that you think about and want actually tend to manifest, right? So what we did was we found there were some conspiracy theories that were set up in a way that Satan was able to invoke fear, division, and actually have people manifest illnesses upon themselves. And I know there's quite a few people, probably maybe even some of the lurkers that are watching, that believe that they're being poisoned by their cell phones, or that the clouds that the planes make due to compressed air, right? The streak that's left behind the planes are actually going to float down and poison them. And I'm going to continue this year to stand up as a truther and someone that cares about humanity and tell those people that the idea of chemtrails poisoning you is demonic. You're being spiritually attacked through demonic possession, as well as the 5G. I'm not saying that radiation or, some things do have an effect on us, but generally, if you eat well, you rest well, you exercise, and you keep a clean mind, you won't be poisoned by these things, right? And I hope I can...
So it's witchcraft to get somebody to believe something that wouldn't harm them is going to harm them. If you get the person to believe that, that's witchcraft. That's dark witchcraft. And so we've pointed out some of the obvious things with chemtrails. They say it's heavy metals. I'm sorry, but have you ever seen metal float, especially heavy metal?
No.
Right? Heavy metal doesn't float. Like if you go into a metal shop, you have all these little filings. They're not floating around in the air so much. They settle out because they're metal. So we see the things in the sky, and we've also shown people how they can be prayed away. So this means it's sometimes it's a real plane. Compressed air, as it's released, leaves these condensation trails.
That's right.
Those tend to disappear pretty quick. The ones that linger on and on and on, we've demonstrated the ability to actually pray away the so-called plane that's spreading it. So we live in a spiritual realm that has demons in it. Those demons have infested the minds of wicked people that then go around and spread a whole bunch of toxic like this is going to harm you type propaganda to people, and that's the witchcraft. And it's not just the chemtrails, there's so many different
Yeah.
things that are like that, where they try to poison people's minds to then and
Manifest.
yeah, manifest it themselves.
Yeah, there couldn't be a better example. So when we tell people that we try to manifest positivity into our lives, you can also manifest negativity and evil. For me, it's a pretty dear subject to my heart because I've seen so many people so affected time and time again through these types of things. And I'm going to continue to try to lift people out of that and heal them as much as I can. And people feel the way they do. They feel that these things are actually damaging them, right? And that's the toughest part because I absolutely feel for them because I've gone through these types of situations in my life and experienced these things, and I've learned how to conquer them. And I feel that it's my duty to be able to try to lift people out of that. We have a great community of people that are awake. There's a lot of people that are, albeit sandboxed. And when I say sandboxed, I mean that they've created these little groups where you echo inside of that group, right? You have your own world, your own realm online. This is what we operate in. But still, when you have a message, when you have a heart, when you put something online, when you share yourself, when you create something, you absolutely affect every person in this realm. And that's what we're looking forward to this year, is to lifting up spirits, getting stronger, better stuff. So we've talked about, I'm just rambling now because we really don't have too many links to go into. Talked about succession, running for king or president, right? I'm just joking. I don't want to have anything to do with that. My kingdom isn't of this world. I don't want to have any kingship or presidency. I was joking about that. I want to set the record straight. I don't want to lie. If Jason wants to run, I'll support him. If you want to be king or president of Texas, Texanadia, or whatever we're going to call it.
We've got some people that follow along that still are thinking that chemtrails are real, that it's an actual thing. So maybe we could just go into a couple more just arguments of why they wouldn't be real, and look at it from a couple different ways.
I don't see, who is it? Is it Mimi? I don't see the Mimi saying that she still believes in them. I've been in heavy metal shops and it's very dusty. Dusty from the metal? Is that what you think? Because I was a tool and die worker, and I can tell you flat out, I got shavings in my nose and my hair. Sometimes they burned my arms, but they never floated in the air. I never got sick or coughed or had any metal in my lungs, right? And plus, if you think of something as a heavy metal, literally the density of it would cause it to fall to the ground.
Yeah, so you got light metals like aluminum, right? Aluminum shavings, if you threw them up in the air, like really, really fine ones, they would linger the longest. But that aluminum will settle out because metal is heavier than air. And then heavy metal is stuff like lead and uranium, stuff like that. These are heavy metals.
Yep, well,
And so if you grind that up super, super fine, throw it in the air, it's going to fall faster than the aluminum will.
okay,
Right?
yes. So I can take this up on another level because for Redwall, maybe some chemtrails are harm to our bodies, other for weather manipulation. Now, what I do know is that the types of Wi-Fi, not Wi-Fi, but broadcasts that go through the air actually do better in the medium that's left by these types of sprays. So there are other things that they are using it. Now, people say weather manipulation. So I know that they have the ability to drive hurricanes and they can create giant windstorms. They do have these types of systems. Yes, I 100% agree with that. Can they, how much can they really control if the creator steps in? I don't think they have very much control. So there are other reasons why we might see certain things in the sky. But we want people to know that if you have a strong mind and you have faith, it comes down to again, the same message that I was talking about with the COVID. If you have fear, something is going to go wrong for you. If you have faith and strength in your ability to be a healthy person and you work for it, you will be healthy. I can promise that situation. And if your time comes, the creator is bringing you home. That's, you get out of here. So it couldn't get any better than that, if you ask me, really.
Yeah, so then there's another line of reasoning that I think puts holes in the idea that these chemtrails are planes spraying chemicals out of them. And so that really ties into the jet fuel hoax, where we showed the proof and evidence that the amount that they say of fuel, kerosene or jet A fuel, pretty much the same thing. If you calculate the volume necessary for the amount of gallons that they say that they're using, and you see where they say that they're putting it, you run into volume issues where there's nothing left for structural support or struts or anything like that. And then if you look at the weight of it, we've shown how it's the equivalent of, it's almost 4 backyard 24-foot pools, right? We're talking 85,000 gallons. Now, the amount of weight of a 24-foot pool, like if you put that on somebody's deck and start filling it up, it's just gonna smash the deck, right? It's gonna crush it. And so I mean, these airplanes are on inflated tires and shocks and stuff like that. They're actually extremely light. They're not filling these things up with fuel. They've figured out a different way. It looks like it's compressors, these dual compressed turbofan engines, that it looks like they do go over unity so that they don't have to load all this liquid on there. So now let's say that there's no fuel on the plane, but now you're going to fill it all up with chemicals to go out and spray it. It's the same issue again. It's it's the weight. And so look at the things that carry water around in the air. So when there's forest fires, you've got these helicopters that take a little bucket, right? A little bucket of water, and they can lift that up and they can fly around, and they dump it, and it's not that much water. And that's really like the max that safely they can do with that type of vehicle. Then you look at the planes that can scoop the water out of the lake and still be able to fly, and look at how much comes out of it, and it's not very much. So for these planes to be able to take off and fly around spraying all that mist that we see in the sky in volume and liquid, it really doesn't seem reasonable. It just doesn't seem reasonable. And then the logistics, then you got to have the tanker trucks there to fill them up with the chemicals plus the fuel. See, it just doesn't drive. I don't believe in it. I think it's all stories made up, and it goes back to stuff like Nicholson 1968.
Richie from Boston.
He said that Project Bluebeam, right, will not work. Like, chemtrails are essential for Project Bluebeam to work, and he said it's all satellite based. So this is the propaganda coming out of the New World Order agents that's out there to poison people's minds and just baffle them with bullshit and
that's correct
fantasy stories, right?
And I sympathize with people in the movement. I was one of them. I was a huge proponent of saying, like, how can people not see that there's all these different clouds in the sky that never used to be there when I was a kid? Now, there are people that then show you pictures of said chemtrail pictures in the 50s, or no, I think I've seen them back as far as the 70s. I can't, without lying, tell you I've seen any further back. But how long have they had this technology? So what we discovered is that there's this system called vortex technology. Victor Schauberger was the scientist behind this. And he was able to take fan blades that rotate like this, and he was able to tune them and pitch them in a way that it would actually create so much velocity and power through moving and compressed air, the air just everywhere, that he actually had to dial the motor back because it would explode. So he came up with this over unity, and what science will tell you doesn't exist, it really does. And what we've found is that this is how these planes are able to take these super long flights, right? Because how are you going to fly across an ocean, right, without having to refuel? Anyone who's ever driven a car, You got these four huge engines. You know, you're thinking, wow, that's probably going to take 4 swimming pools worth of fuel. But when you look into it, you find out that they have this technology where they're able to create. And another good evidence that goes along with this is if you've ever done any studies on the bumblebee or certain types of bees, they can fly 30-mile headwind, and they can actually fly to the same path, the exact same amount of time with and against the wind. What they do is they create a resonance through the wings, right? They create this humming, and they have that big cavity of a belly. And it's the exact same principle as a plane. It has an air pressurized cavity that everyone's in, which allows you to surf on the air. And then they use the air, compressing it, because it comes out so much faster from the compression. And the byproduct of doing that is compressed air. Anyone who's ever like gone like that and had smoke come out of their mouth understands that what I just did was created compressed air, and a chemtrail just came out of my mouth, right? These are the types of things that we discovered. And we also, Jason was the one who pioneered, and not pioneered, but you did a video on chemtrails or demonic, where you went into all the symbols, all of the tagging, all the stuff that the Satanists and the witchcraft that goes on, the evil stuff. You pointed it all out, as well as praying away certain types of trails. Now, we're not saying that all these planes with trails are even actual objects in our realm. These are things cloaking themselves, spiritual entities. You could probably call them demons, but for now, we can't really put whether they're good or bad. We don't know. We just know that there's stuff up there that literally you can pray and they disappear. It's happened to me multiple times. So I'm not willing to take that away from the truth. I don't know how much further we want to continue down this path. Like I said, I just want to help people know that, like, your health is dependent on your mindset, your activities in life, whether you're resting, eating well, working out, you know, whether you're doing things that are healthy, whether you're, you know, creating a narcissistic, you know, there's so many things that we can do to ourselves that are so negative, where we can actually take the other path. And it's a much better ride as the world burns here, right? Everybody sees the corruption, all the lies, it's so the scale of, like, you were telling me earlier, you were saying the statistic about people that are ready for bankruptcy, right? What was that, 40%?
No, it was 40% of people in the United States right now could not withstand a $1,000 emergency. And those come along. So it's getting really, really tough for people to get by. Before we move on, I just want Jordan had said flying with air compressors and not using jet fuel. I just want to make clear that we're not saying that they've got fuel tanks on there to run air compressors. What we're talking about is if you look into the turbines that they use in these turboprop, that's what they call them, turboprops, is that they'll show you the first compressor. So you've got all these fins where you're going from a large volume, and then because of the way they set these fins, it compresses, and then when that air is let out into the back half of the turbine, it's being released, and that as it's expanding, that they're getting a counter rotation, and that at speeds and so with a lot of these things, they have to be at a large scale where you have masses. The bigger the diameter, the heavier it weighs, and you get all this momentum. That they use starters, we know that. So they used to use air carts.
They hook up the air.
It was compressed air.
That they could take that off.
And then once it appears that the engine is started through the air compressor, that then through throttle control, they actually have to back off the throttle. Otherwise, it would over rev to the point that the engine exploded. That's how over Unity systems work. So no liquid fuel, no combustion. So another evidence that there's not combustion taking place. We did a hangout where we were showing, it was in winter, where they had these turboprop jets sitting at the end of the runway, and there was a wall behind it, and it was winter. So it was someplace where it was all snowy, and they had this engine plane parked, and they were like running the engines up as part of, testing the engines and stuff. And so it sat there 20 minutes revving. You could really see, but it didn't melt any snow. There was
No,
there was nothing melted off. So one of the things that we know is that when you release compressed air,
it's
it
cold.
actually creates coldness.
That's how they make hockey rinks.
Yeah.
Right? Compressed air.
Yeah, anything compressed. When you
So,
release something compressed, it creates a cold flow. That's
against the law of thermodynamics,
keyboard
right?
dusters, computer dusters. When you press down on that thing and the compressed air comes out, you can feel the can get cold, icy.
Mhm.
In fact, so it appears that the the thrust air coming out is actually ice cold air.
Well, and there's more examples that we can touch upon than just that. Have you ever seen a flame coming out of the back of an airliner? No, you've never seen a like a flame, right? Or smoke. Uh, uh, the only thing that we see evidence of is the exact same thing. So there was a Canadian inventor who actually was the first one to get the water cell. Probably not the first one, but he created a car that had a fuel cell. When I say fuel cell, I'm talking about uh, water being electrocuted, right, and creating Brown's gas. And that gas itself is then used on demand. You don't have to store it in tanks as a combustion source. And what the byproduct of that power is actually a cloud. A cloud comes out of the tailpipe. So there's multiple different
Well, and
things.
water too, right?
And
Yeah.
water, pure water. Actually, we thought it was hilarious with all these people that if we get into a debate with a lefty that's trying to tell us about the Green New Deal, we always like to bring out, did you know that if you were able to convert all the buses, trains, planes, cars, well, not planes, obviously, to burning the fuel cell, where you could actually put tap water into your vehicle, and it's a closed system as well. It continues to reuse the same water. The byproduct would actually heal the earth. It would completely change our environment. We'd have a lush green, really, really nice place. As it would just be more oxygen and more clean water like, because we do know that the carbon as well is used by plants, right, in this realm. But I know I'm just rambling. I don't really know.
Well, the fact that we're not using hydrogen right now just shows how awful the rulers of this world are. They kept that technology from us. Like, one of the great big psyop breakers on hydrogen is you have to understand hydrogen implodes. Implodes. How many other things do you know of that implodes? Don't you think in science class this should be like the most big and exciting thing?
Sure.
When you ignite hydrogen, it implodes. Nothing else does
Again,
this. No.
that goes against what their laws state, right?
Yeah.
So, and
The
we've
laws of thermodynamics are the laws of padding your pockets bullshit.
And we've seen actual people, because we were investigating on doing this, we've seen tanks literally implode, right? Implode, like they're sucked in and all like crumpled, right? And this is what happens. So we talked about secession. We've talked about chemtrails. I brought up that one. Still trying to heal people. My goal is always to help people know that they're, you're not going to get sick.
It appears that it really has a grip. It has a grip on a lot of people, and
It's
all
painful.
all I can ask for is for people to really contemplate whether or not it's possible. Because if you're giving power to something that's not even possible, you're making yourself susceptible to, because of your belief system, because you believe that the air that you're breathing has been poisoned. Who knows what that thought process is going to manifest. I don't want to see that for people. So
Me too.
test it.
It hurts my heart, breaks my heart when I hear people that are suffering from, massive migraines and, just pains in their body. I just want to just obliterate that with the truth of light. That's my goal here. It always has been, and it'll always be. What other topics? I remember you had said maybe you wanted to test out the screen share ability. You did say that I got to stop saying and ah. You can tell that I'm definitely not on my game with my speech here. Forgive me, everyone out there that's a vocabulary Nazi. I'm going to work on that. Did you want a screen share?
Sure. We'll go through a couple tabs. This is sort of like a we'll go through this live type thing. Nothing particularly planned.
Yeah, that's all we could do. And then we'll probably wrap it up not too long, but we'll definitely get the screen share going as soon as that's ready. Again, thanks to everyone for showing up tonight. I saw that we had roughly 40 people, which is always super appreciated. That's great. Just that there's 40 people that want to spend time with us, it means so much to me. And you are presented, brother. So.
All right, I just got to mute and get my camera out of the way.
Yeah, I'm muted too, and I should have a little bit better of a sound for everyone in the chat. Hopefully you can hear me a little bit more clear now. This is when we try to do the up close type sounds.
Yeah, well, we don't putting the microphone in the shot when we're on camera looks a little weird.
Yeah, it's true. It does kind of look weird. So I guess some of the topics that you wanted to go over during the screen share was the whole deplatforming, and I'm just setting it up for you, brother. And again, my most important thing is that I don't want to see, unwanted violence, and this is the path that we're headed down. So take it away.
Yeah, so this is the big hot word right now, deplatforming, and you can see they got top stories here. This is what I call the astroturfed results. So when you do a search on Google here, they're going to give you what they want you to see. And so these are recent articles, 3 days ago, 5 days ago. YouTube's covering it now, but this is the hot thing. So let's see what they're saying about deplatforming. So 4 hours ago, the court, the Constitution, and the deplatforming of Trump. NBC News, does deplatforming work? Trump's most extreme fans will find him, research says. Let's take a look at what they're saying in some of these articles. I do not support NBC. It says President Donald Trump's rabid online following will be smaller from now on, but it may be more extreme. This is what we were talking about earlier, is that as you deplatform people, they become radicalized because now all of a sudden they have to go way out and do extra things to be able to communicate with each other. So the big headlines, they always have their key players. Trump joins a growing list of high-profile personalities, most of them on the far right, who have been banned from Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, or YouTube after having repeatedly broken the site's rules. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, we were talking about him earlier, is banned from most of them, as is far-right activist Emilio, what's his name? Yiannopoulos? I don't know much about that guy. But so the past examples have given researchers a window into whether such moves are effective. But as a soon-to-be former president, Trump presents a unique case that may shatter expectations. It says it's likely he will have a much smaller reach than he did on Twitter. So
yeah, that's for sure.
When people have a platform that they have access to somebody, then when they're gone, the whole group doesn't follow. So like if the Awake Souls channel was taken down by YouTube and I made a backup channel and I published all my videos on there, there's no way I'd have 17,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I struggle to get like 2,000-3,000.
But we would never quit. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we're never going to give up, ever, no matter what happens.
Yeah, but the vast majority of people, I don't know what's going on, but even though they hit subscribe and wanted to see more, as soon as it's not there, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. And
couldn't agree with you anymore. It's happened to me on my channel many times. People have been unsubscribed and then they just completely forget, right?
Um, so what we found is that there is a huge decrease in the activity and the number of members and reach of the community when these communities migrate to these new platforms. The people that have been kicked off the main platforms, but substantial evidence that the community became much more toxic. All right. So deplatforming has
Well,
the effect of radicalization.
yes, excellent, well said. And also the sites that they push these echo chambers to become just filled with radical people. It's obvious, right?
Yeah, so we're just get a sense for what's out there. CNN's analyzing, will deplatforming make Trump and the far right vanish, move, or radicalize further?
Hmm.
What do you think, brother?
Radicalization.
Big tech's crackdown on Donald Trump and Parler won't fix the real problem with social media. What else we got here? We got Parler suing Amazon over deplatforming.
Well, just to tie it all in, I just want to let everyone know the main agenda that's behind what happened here, that Trump has been for, is the absolute censorship of anyone that goes against the New World Order. That's happened since day one. Sure, they've put it under the guise that they've got to censor these radical Christians or the right or anyone, right? But really, the attack has been since day one, since Trump was put into office, was to censor the truth, and they're really close to it.
So let me see, there was another aspect. If we look at images, we'll get a bigger variety. Um, so you got astroturfed results that are going to bring back. We need more than deplatforming. There is no
Yeah.
question that social
We,
media played a role in the siege and takeover of the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, right?
uh,
Additional precise and specific actions must also be taken. Reveal who is paying for advertisements, how much they are paying, and who is being targeted. Commit to meaningful transparency of platform algorithms so that we know how and what content is being amplified to whom and the associated impact. Now, I don't know how this sentence got in this article. This right here is actually the answer. Transparency to the algorithms. So I was talking about the astroturfed results. I believe that the only way we can coexist with the technology that we're using right now is that the algorithms be public, right? So that everybody knows exactly what the algorithm is, that it should not be proprietary,
yeah.
and that it should not be hidden from the people.
Well, that and also the algorithm should be derived off of what people actually want to watch, right? Instead of it being what they want to program us with. I remember the smash your TV thing, which I'm completely for. I don't like the propaganda that's put out through the television programming. But what they've done is they've absolutely radicalized the internet, where now it's just absolute all attack all the time. And they have so many avenues where they're using the internet to attack people they could have never dreamed of through the television, right?
So then they just say turn on by default the tools to amplify factual voices. So these are the fact checkers, the astroturfed results. They want more than deplatforming. They want to amplify their their propaganda. Work with independent researchers to facilitate in-depth studies of the platform's impact on people and our societies and what we can do to improve things. Well, that'd be great if that could be independently done and that the algorithms could be made public. Transparency is the only thing that could work. It's the only thing that could work. What else they got out here? GOP digital operatives. Silicon Valley deplatforming. All right. Deplatforming. The power of left wing media. Should be interesting. Should social media platforms censor hateful content? This, just the use of the word hateful is so leading. It's unbelievable. Comedian Steven Crowder found himself at the center of controversy. I don't know if we need to know about that.
Yeah, there's not too much.
First, the left came for those most Americans rightly agree are reprehensible. That's a bad sentence. All right, so not a very good article.
Yeah, there's not going to be any good content really on the truth about censorship. You're not going to find anything on their actual platforms that they use to mind control.
The big
people.
talk now is that you get to deplatform people.
Yeah,
Trump
they love
should have
it,
been
right?
deplatformed.
Yeah. And not only that, put into re-education camps.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's see what this commentary has.
You got to pay for this one. They want your money.
Yeah.
Fork it over. Sorry, I was breathing really loud there. Forgive me. Hopefully this has been a smoother podcast as well. I know we've had issues with it in the past, getting all this new stuff to work correctly and how to use it and everything, but I'm enjoying it. And we are going to see what censorship does bring, because every time that a new platform comes up and tries to become a new place, they get totally taken down. And it's continuing to happen, right?
All right, let's get CNN's take. They're straight CIA propaganda.
Oh. Yeah, that's right. What it's, yeah. It's CIANN, right? The I is silent.
So Trump's off Twitter. Parler seems shut down for the foreseeable future. We know and understand that everything, even remotely conservative, they want gone. They want nothing but liberal, just do as thou wilt people. There's comparisons to ISIS in here. ISIS content was just out in the open. Young adults were stumbling on this content and they would enter into a new community of ISIS supporters almost by accident. Deplatforming protects against this to some degree. So
yeah,
we should deplatform people because it's ISIS.
ISIS, right? They're coming back. The caliphate. I saw someone had put in the comments earlier that Al Qaeda was making a comeback, right? They're going to attack Biden or whatever. Who knows what they're going to attack?
Yeah, they got caliphate in here. Caliphate ISIS.
Hilarious. Come on, guys. John Can't Lie going to come back to life? All the old school truthers know who John Can't Lie is.
What will happen as the far right replicates that pattern now is an urgent question in the United States, where extremists went to Parler and now will perhaps migrate to Gab, less popular platforms where minimal moderation permits an information atmosphere of often dizzying and sometimes violent mistruths. Need at the time of writing Gab was promoting itself on Twitter with Exodus biblical verse about letting my people go. This is a sometimes violent mistruth. When people were quoting Exodus, let my people go.
Oh, I gotta laugh. Thank you, Jason, for reading this article. It made me laugh a little bit today. It's been a tough day. This realm, man.
We got neo-Nazis in here.
Oh, who's that? What's his name? Charlie Kirk? No, that's not his name. I can't remember the kid's name anymore. The neo-Nazi
We got
guy.
the El Paso shooter.
Oh, yeah. Is what's his name there? Beto or whatever? Beto.
Oh, we got Overton window.
Oh, I like
This
that
is
word.
one of your terms. Conway added that this high-profile endorsement shifted the Overton window of ideas considered acceptable in public.
Well written. That
Made
must
it
have come at
harder
a.
to respond effectively to right-wing extremist content.
Uh,
So, you want to tell people about the Overton window?
Well, it almost explained itself in the sentence. The Overton window is when they push something so extreme that the thing that they actually wanted you to accept is well within your guidelines now. You're like, as long as they don't do that, we'll be okay with that, right? That's what the Overton window is.
All right, so this is a really interesting statement here because really think about what's going on here. And the deplatforming of the world's most powerful man presents a new challenge. So, President of the United States got deplatformed. I mean,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
let that sink in and really contemplate what that means.
Yeah, it means that nobody's safe.
Yeah.
Oh, the dogs. They want us to stop streaming, I take it, right?
All right. Well, people know what deplatforming is. It's something that I say resist. You know, make as much effort if you're resisting by trying to not wear a mask as much as possible. Um, think of ways to resist this deplatforming because I don't know if you enjoy having places where you can go and listen to people online, like here, all right, what we're doing. If we don't have a platform, you're not going to be able to hear us. If we don't, if somebody else that you listen to doesn't have a platform, you're not going to be able to hear them. So it's important to fight for the ability. I'm not speaking violently fight. I'm saying resist. Resist with your spirit. Speak up against people that are taking this away. Say something to them, like
Yeah.
resist them. Tell them that they are wrong, that
Mm-hmm.
they're scum of the earth, bad people, and that
Horrible.
they should not do that.
No. How dare they? Right? Stand up for the truth. I'm not saying go and shoot somebody or try to kill someone. I'm literally telling you guys to, call it out. We had a good comment from Yiska. It says complete mindlessness, retardation of the human race. The longer you wear one, the more acidify your blood. You can straight up look this stuff up. We have been promoting that wearing face coverings is really bad for you. Not only does it toxify your blood with carbon, it also causes brain damage, right? It's nowhere near the oxygen. If we were created to have flaps over our mouths, we would have them, right? The most natural things are usually the best, just to be honest with people.
Mm-hmm. It worked for us for a long time. Like, we didn't wear masks for a long time and everything was fine.
And that was my argument today with the people at the hot tub. I was telling them, like, in Canada, we every year, generally I would get a flu or cold and I wouldn't have any smell or taste. And it would happen, when the winter started, and I could get a cough or a respiratory thing, and my immune system would beat it. Like, this is nothing new. All they've done is repackaged it and then used it as a political weapon. And these people on the other side, they actually, yes, they're like, we are using it as a political weapon. She was saying that she hopes that it causes more better construction and safer things put into work. You can never not build things better, right? You can make a healthier, cleaner society. I am all for that. But to use a political agenda where people are dying because they can't get surgeries that they need because the hospitals are all shut down. The people on the other side, they know that the hospitals are shut down. They say, oh, that's because there's so many people coming in with COVID. Like, it's retarded how people will give you such answers, and I just hope that people continue to try to be light beacons, not, antagonistic. Don't yell at people. Don't don't get yourself put into a position where you can be like Fokker, where you're going to be thrown in jail. What I'm trying to say is do things righteously with your heart and care about other people, whether you're with them or against them. You need to have compassion on those people and try to plant seeds. That's all my advice is for tonight. That's the best thing that I want to do. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of this year, as long as the tribulation doesn't start, which would be super exciting too. But the content that we're going to be coming up with is going to get better and better and better. And I'm really looking forward to being a part of that, because that's the most important thing to me right now is coming up with more content and spending time with you guys in the chat. Like, what a great chat we had tonight. Everybody had great comments. Seth Jordan says, what they do in Australia is they screw with the citizens. They lock them down for several days, then give them their freedom back, and then lock them down some more. This is traumatizing tactic for hostages. Now, this is a common thing that people do in society. This is how they manipulate people, right? These are common techniques that are being employed. That's a great comment by Seth. I think they're doing the same thing in Canada. Like, they make people stand outside in minus 20 to Fahrenheit degree weather because only 15 people are allowed in the store. There was a great comment by Howa's daughter on Facebook. How do they come up with the fact that if the so-called virus spreads, how do they know that you can't open a smaller store and have 3 people in the store if they have the same square foot? Like, everything that these communistic totalitarian systems are putting forth is all about psychological warfare. They're trying to create division, create fear. They're trying to create panic. They don't want anybody comfortable and manifesting healthiness. And that's what we are going to do in 2021. We are going to manifest healthiness. We're going to manifest the kingdom of heaven. That's what our job is. And I'm not going to stop at anything less. They're going to have to kill me.
Well, that's fantastic, brother. I I wish we could all get out.
Yeah, how do you follow that, right? Sorry, bro.
I'm
kidding. From non-boastful. Yeah. It's true. That's what we are here to do. We're all here to manifest the kingdom of heaven. Everyone in the chat, everyone that's a lurker, everyone that's now clicked off this video, they are all entitled with this duty because you've been awoken by the Creator. The Creator doesn't call anyone to him, right? He calls specific people. He opens the eyes of specific people. Have you ever wondered, everyone on the other side of the screen, why is it that you're not a sheep following the herd? Why are you awake? And when you start to contemplate that, you need to realize that's because the Father of creation has called you to him, and you've heard. And the steps that you now take forth are going to be in acts of his faith and his strength. We are here as representatives of the Most High, and we're going to continue to fight for him. I'm going to fall down. I'm not going to have the best days every day. I'm human, but I will tell you, nobody is going to stop me from sharing truth and coming up with better content. It's straight up. It's the most competitive thing. What is a better thing than anyone could ever do? Like Jason was saying earlier, you can build a beautiful doghouse in your backyard and show it on Facebook and show a few people. But what about creating a symphony of videos with edit graphics that just blow your mind, that absolutely brings the kingdom of heaven's consciousness into this realm? That is what we've been tasked with. I don't feel it's a heavy burden. I feel it's super levitating. It couldn't be more luminous, the path that we are on. And it is, I'm telling you guys, it's happening quick. I see the righteous being righteous and being super brightened like the stars in the sky. That is our goal. We are to be bright as the stars, right?
Yeah, well, I'm still waiting for something big and exciting. So, we don't just go live to go live. We usually like to go live to cover something that's going on. And surprisingly enough, with these crazy times that we're in, like, it's just really, sure, Trump was second impeached, but he's not out. So it's just like a big nothing burger. We're waiting for the big thing, and then we'll be all over it, and we'll have something to do. This right here is the hard part for me, is just waiting for that big thing that we know is eventually going to come. Get her going, but
I know you want out. You're like, where's the gun? Who's going to shoot me in the head? Get me the out of here as quick as possible. Howa's daughter, same thing, ready to go. Me, I don't know why it is that I'm different. I want to stay and fight till the end. I've already made that pact with the Father. I told him I'll do whatever it takes. I'll go through whatever hell. That's the other thing too. Yahushai came here, didn't sin, was tortured, and then hung up on a pole till he died, right? And we're here thinking that, we're not supposed to suffer. We are. We're supposed to be in the mire, in the muck, and we're supposed to show that we can be lifted up out of that through our faith. And that's what we have to be. And I don't really hear enough of this, and I hope I can come up with some good content that truly inspires people. I don't know who's inspired tonight with us. I feel inspired. I felt that I've had a lot of rants that I hope got to everyone on the other side of the screen. I couldn't try harder to share my heart or my mind and my spirit with anybody. I'm just thankful for every one of you guys in the chat. I'll continue to say that. Everyone that shares our stream, everyone that comments below, truly, you are a part of what this is. Jason and I are just two that we put ourselves out in the front because we want to show people that they can come and they can do this. It would be great if there was a whole team of people doing all this content and putting the effort in, because the crowns are there for all of you. And I know that's been one of Jason's huge goals since I met Jason. He's constantly wanted to inspire other people to get involved, to do something. I know that when you started filming The Clouds Behind the Sun, there was a whole community that broke out with everyone getting the P1000s, or it was P900 back then, and they were all inspired. And then what happens? Satan comes in, causes fear, causes division, and then people just start talking nonsense. They try to flip, invert, they try to ruin it because they got some sort of demons on them. But all you in the chat, you're fully capable of, even recording with your cell phone, posting to Facebook, posting to YouTube, post to Twitter. People say don't post to these places. Where else are you going to reach people, right? The goal has been to reach out to as many people as we can and let the Father bring the people here. That's why I don't care about the views, because I know that everyone that the Creator wants, he will call to himself, And I guess I'll let you say the last words, brother. I'll probably play us out, but thank you, Jason. I really appreciate your hard work, your effort, for the graphics, for everything that you've done. You've really carried the ship for the past year and a half when it comes to anything online, and I'm really looking forward to getting something created that I can contribute, because, brother, you've really outdone yourself. I put you on a level above every other human I've ever met when it comes to doing work for the truth. You truly are, and you don't get any credit for it. You don't really get anything earthly of this realm for any of the work that you do. And I just want to say that when we get to the kingdom, I really hope that you're willing to share your riches with me.
Thank you, brother. Wow. How can I say anything to top your last comment? The one before the compliment, that was amazing. And thank you for the compliment as well.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. And chances are we'll probably be live Friday. I would think so. We need something to talk about. We really need something to talk about, but I have a feeling that we will have something to talk about by then. And we want to stay on track for Spiritual Sundays as well. So we need to get some content put together for something like that as well. So thank you again for joining. Please like, please share. Go Team Yahushai.
Yahushai. Your move, New World Order, your move.
And
like a gospel choir. If we live forever, let us live forever tonight. Helicopters against the moonlight, our holy mother of the midnight. And if we live forever, let us live forever tonight.
This was hashtag Team Yahawashai, always and forever.